Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor, 911truther.org. Today is January 25th of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears the CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland has greenlit a so-called Axis offensive targeting multiple locations around the world on the date of January 25th and 26th of 2026. In other words, CIA headquarters in Geneva is going to stage a global military offensive by China, Iran, North Korea, Pakistan, or Russia on the 25th through the 26th. Most likely starting during the live broadcast of the NFL Championship Sunday football games in the United States, which have a global viewership of up to possibly 1 billion. So exactly how this is going to play out in reality is obviously not known, but it's most likely going to start with a Chinese naval attack targeting Seattle and the naval bases which surround her on the date of Sunday the 25th, possibly during the live broadcast, most likely I should say, during the live broadcast of the Los Angeles Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks football game. Considering that energy weapons are trending right now, because what Donald Trump is calling the discombobulation weapon, which was used in the attack on Caracas to kidnap Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro back on January 3rd of 2026, it's highly likely that the CIA is going to, this is a satellite-based weapon originating from NATO and NASA satellites. So it's highly likely that they're going to target Seattle with this weapon. This could render an apocalyptic earthquake. It could feature some sort of a zombie pandemic where they blow the eardrums out of all the fans and everybody's bleeding from the brain. This could take many different forms, but it's expected during the live broadcast of that game. The other game is the New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos, which is going to commence at Mile High Stadium in Denver. And that is, of course, where the capital of the United States is going to be moved to in the aftermath of this attack, which is likely going to assassinate U.S. President Donald J. Trump in Washington, D.C. So exactly, like I said, how this is going to play out in reality is obviously not known, but it's imperative to know in this video, for the record, that the Israeli military is one of the larger militaries in the world, unbeknownst to most people. They pretend like they're some little country that is dependent on the United States, but what most people don't understand is that they receive the prototypes and the weapons that are discarded by all the military powers around the world. So that is to say that if the United States buys a new aircraft carrier, the old one is allegedly scrapped for metal, but it's actually taken and it becomes part of what's called the shadow fleet. And the Israeli military has a global fleet of aircraft carriers, destroyers, submarines. Most of those are Dolphin class submarines that are made in Germany, that is employed by the Israeli Navy. And so they have ships, they have submarines, they have satellites, and they have soldiers all over the world. And so this attack, what I'm calling DDT Day, on the 25th and the 26th, which is coincidentally equates to the letters YZ as in Yeezy. And we all know about the Nazi song that was recently played, because these people are Nazis. They're called Ashkenazis. And so they're going to stage this attack with these, what are called the Shadow Fleet or the Mothball Fleet, as well as with the Shadow Army of Ukraine, which I'm going to get into in a second. But essentially, this is going to be masqueraded as likely as an attack by China, Iran, North Korea, Pakistan, and Russia, but it's really going to be a full-scale Israeli military offensive against the United States and her allies on the day of January 25th, 26th, using this so-called shadow fleet and using their three Jewish states. So we have the original Jewish state, which is Switzerland, which is orchestrating this whole thing coming out of Geneva. Then we have the second Jewish state called Jewish Autonomous Oblast, which is located in eastern Russia, across from Japan, or I should say north of North Korea. And this is where they have a large spaceport with ICBMs. So if they want to frame Russia for a nuclear event, they shoot them off from there. If they want to frame North Korea for a nuclear event, they shoot them off from there. If they want to frame China for a nuclear event, they shoot them off from there. And so that is where their let's say Pacific headquarters is. And then in Central Asia, or what we call in the Middle East, between Europe, between Africa, and between Asia, you have Israel, which has also a large spaceport with a bunch of ICBMs. And so if they want to stage a false flag Russian missile attack targeting Europe, that's where it originates. If they want to stage a false flag ICBM strike coming out of Iran, that's where they launch it off. So they have these two launch pads. And so that's going to be very active because the CIA is going to stage some sort of Chinese invasion or CBRN related event. They were obviously with COVID, so some sort of chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear event by China. So we may see a Chinese offensive targeting Japan, South Korea, Philippines, Guam, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, Hawaii, Alaska, or the continental United States, or some ICBM strike. In respect to Iran, we can expect 9/11 style nuclear attacks, ICBM strikes, possibly a full-scale attack or invasion of Iraq or other neighbors of Iran. In respect to North Korea, an attack or invasion targeting the DMZ, the demilitarized zone between North Korea and South Korea, is expected, as well as ICBM strikes. In respect to Pakistan, likely ICBM strikes targeting India. So these are going to come from Israel and then be scapegoated onto Pakistan, and starting World War III between those two nations. And then in respect to Russia, some sort of full-scale attack or invasion using this what is now the world's largest shadow army. So we have these 150,000 or so Ukrainians that have allegedly died in the war against Russia, which form this shadow army that are Ukrainians, speaking Ukrainian, that are dressed in Russian military outfits that they're going to use as a false flag attack against Europe that will get Europe and NATO to attack Russia, or they'll attack Russia and then say, coming out of NATO nations, and say that it was an attack by Germany, Poland, etc. So some sort of false flag Ukrainian invasion. And you have to remember also that Vladimir Zelensky, he is a Jewish Zionist from Ukraine, so he's working hand in hand with Netanyahu, getting their secret orders from Geneva. Also, Russian ICBM strikes expected coming out of Israel and or the Jewish Autonomous Oblast on the other side of Russia. So in order to set this up over time, the notion that China, Iran, North Korea, Pakistan, and China would secretly work together to stage this unprecedented, full-scale World War III attack. The CIA has formed what's called BRICS, which is a counter to the G7, the G8, the G20, as well as they have staged multiple naval exercises with the navies of China, Iran, and Russia. The latest one being on January 9th through the 16th of 2026. The exercise was called Will for Peace, whatever that means, and it was held off the coast of South Africa. Previously, before that, there was a joint naval exercise entitled Chiru CHIRU-22 that was held in the Indian Ocean between China, Iran, and Russia back on January 22nd of 2022. And then previously before that, there was a joint Chinese, Iranian, and Russian naval exercise in the Indian Ocean as well, unnamed, but it was on December 31st of 2019. And then, of course, Chinese President Xi Jinping, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, and Russian President Vladimir Putin met on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, the SCO Summit, in Kyrgyzstan back on June 14th of 2019. That's coincidentally Trump's birthday, June 14th, and that's no accident because, like I said earlier, this attack that's expected in the next few hours is obviously designed to assassinate U.S. President Donald J. Trump. This could be a full-scale 9/11 style kamikaze drone attack. It could be a ballistic missile strikes. It could be a nuclear event. It could be chemical, biological, radiological. It could be a dirty bomb. It could be anything. So the end game of this impending event is obviously World War III, but it's also designed to spawn a second global biological pandemic, as well as neutralize U.S. President Donald J. Trump. So they have three primary goals at this point. Switzerland, in Geneva, is to assassinate U.S. President Donald J. Trump, to start a second global biological pandemic, and or to trigger World War III. And those are the three primary goals. That's A, B, C. And this is going to happen on the date of January 25th or January 26th in some form or fashion. And a full-scale alleged Axis-like World War III military offensive by the aforementioned five nations coming together. Coincidentally, there's this term that has been floated by the Trump administration over the last few months, and it's called the Core Five. This is in respect to the United States, the UK, China, Russia, and India as being the five largest economies of the world. I believe that this is a euphemism for this five nations, China, Iran, Pakistan, North Korea, and Russia, that will be scapegoated for this attack, and then they will obviously claim that these nations were working in secret, and they'll likely produce phone calls or photos or the aforementioned war games, naval exercises, the photographs thereof, to prove this, that they're all in collusion with each other, when in reality this is about Zionism. And the 26th is when World War III would be declared. The 26th equates to letter Z, which is an acronym for Zionism. And so I've made multiple videos about this impending attack, but individually for Russia, for Iran. And now it appears that they're going to go with some sort of a collective, full-scale military offensive targeting multiple nations. So just to play this out, in theory, so China attacks Seattle during this game. Then Iran flies a bunch of planes into New York City and Washington, D.C. Nuclear bombs go off. Russia attacks Ukraine and invades Poland, Germany, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia and or Finland. Then Pakistan launches a bunch of ICBMs at India. North Korea attacks U.S. soldiers in the DMZ. Launches a bunch of missiles into Tokyo, into Seoul, into the Philippines. So this could be really, really ugly. And what's also they have tried this. They tried this a few weeks ago, I believe about a month ago, and they always do it when there's a high television viewership. But I have published reports for each of these individual scenarios, but taken together, it would appear as a new plot. And so this is apparently what's going to go down on the date of the 25th, Y, and the 26th, Z, Yeezy. This is why they played this stupid song, this Heil Hitler song in this club this last weekend, which was all the rage online. Because this is when the Nazis, the Ashkenazis, staged their military offensive, and they get off on these little things. But it's apparently they're going to start World War III. And then we have to remember, of course, that Switzerland is the one organizing this. This is the first Jewish state of Switzerland who is basically orchestrating this. And I believe that this meeting in Davos, Switzerland, just 48 hours prior to this World War III plot, is when these people were briefed by CIA headquarters in Geneva. So obviously, if the CIA stages any sort of military offensive by China, by Iran, by North Korea, by Pakistan, or Russia on the date of January 25th of 2026, or the date of January 25th of 2026, I kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets.